County Senior Citizens Council's 2025 annual meeting. Please note that this meeting is being recorded, just as that little voice said. My name is Bill Garrity, and I'm the president of GCSCC's Board of Directors. It's my pleasure to call the 2025 annual meeting of the Grafton County Senior Citizens Council to order. GCSCC's mission is to develop, strengthen, and provide programs and services that support the health, dignity, and independence of older adults and adults with disabilities living in our communities. Thank you all for supporting our mission and for attending today's to hear more about GCSCC and issues affecting older adults. Let me mention a few housekeeping matters, which we hope will help the meeting flow more smoothly. Unless you are speaking, please ensure that your microphone is muted. Seems like everyone's doing a good job on that so far. If you wish to make or second a motion or wish to ask a question or make a comment, please raise your hand. And when recognized, please identify yourself for the record and for the benefit of all participating. And I think one of the technical problems with that statement is because we have so many connections here that I may not see you right away. So just have patience, put your hand up. And if I don't see you, then speak. In other words, call me and then it should automatically kick over to you so I can see you. Okay. So we'll deal with that. Hopefully it'll work out okay. There's an opportunity for questions and comments after each item is presented and certainly at the end of the meeting. The first portion of our meeting will feature a presentation about the power of New Hampshire nonprofits. Nonprofits are the backbone of New Hampshire's economy and communities, turning shared values into action. From every corner of the state, they unite people and drive meaningful change. Join us as we explore their vital role in strengthening our communities. At this time, I'd like to welcome and introduce our guest speaker, Kathleen Reardon. Kathleen leads the New Hampshire Center for Nonprofits, guiding a strategic direction to amplify the impact and visibility of the sector statewide. She joined the center in 2016, and after 18 years at Citizens Bank, bringing expertise in public and media relations, corporate giving, community development, and event management. With deep roots to nonprofit leadership, Kathleen has held key roles in public relations and development and served on numerous boards, including the New Hampshire Community Loan Fund, Capital Center for the Arts, and Northern New England Housing Investment Fund. She was also appointed to the New Hampshire State Parks Advisory Council and Economic Development Advisory Council. In other words, she's been around and has done a lot of work in New Hampshire. Kathleen, thank you for joining us today and to talk about this important topic. I'll turn it over to you and you can get your screen up and we'll get going.
Thank you so much, Bill, and thank you for that warm introduction, and to Kathleen for inviting me to be here to speak with you this morning. Hopefully, we'll have this as a very good conversation. I have a few slides and presentation and perspectives to share, and then we'll be very eager to have a conversation with you as you know, for a few minutes of Q&A as well. So thank you. I do have some slides just to keep me on track more than anything else. So let me just share my screen. Bear with me. All right, beautiful. Looks like everyone can see my screen there with the wrong date. It's April 29th, but that's okay. Let me just, okay. So the New Hampshire Center for Nonprofits, as Bill mentioned, we are a statewide nonprofit association whose mission is to strengthen and give voice to the state's nonprofits through leadership, collaboration, and learning opportunities. The Grafton County Senior Citizens Council has been a longtime member of the organization and benefits from our services, which include a wide variety of educational programs for both board members.
I have to get on this call. Okay.
Welcome to the call. So board members, as well as staff members on all facets of nonprofit management. We have our signature Hoffman Haas Fellowship, which helps new and emerging board leaders understand their roles. A wide range of tools and resources on our our website, as well as technical assistance for folks in the nonprofit sector, advocacy and sector reports, convening events, and New Hampshire Gives, which again, Grafton County Senior Citizens Council has participated in. That is our day-long, 24-hour online day of giving, the state's largest day of giving, and is slated to happen in June this year on the June 10th. So that's a little bit about us. But again, thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about nonprofits. I like to start a lot of times when I'm speaking with a little quote of inspiration. And the one that really came to my mind today is this one, which is one of my favorites, from Margaret Mead. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. And that is the story of the nonprofit sector. That is the story even of the Grafton County Senior Citizens Council. I understand more than 50 years ago, it was a small group of dedicated Upper Valley residents who got together to say, take time from their busy lives to build this agency to help support seniors, which at that time was in just the Lebanon area. The organization has grown, and you now serve all of Grafton County because of the thousands of people who've contributed their time, talent, and treasure to your organization. Your organization provides vital services to help older adults maintain their health and independence. But just as important as that direct work that you do, you bring people together for fun activities, to share a meal and conversation. Your organization builds community. And so I really want to start this talk with just a hats off to all of you who are on this call, whether you're a volunteer, a staff member, a board member, or whether you're a senior citizen or older adult who is benefiting from the organization's purposes. You are part of this community. And so really building the things and building the community that we want to be. Nonprofits are the backbone of our communities. They enrich our lives, contribute to our economic vitality and quality of life. Their direct impact goes beyond the direct services that they provide. And I would argue that nonprofits foster many of the ideals that we need so much today. They provide a way for people to work together towards the common good, transforming shared belief and values into action. And they give shape to our boldest dreams, highest ideals, and noblest causes. Everyone benefits from the work of nonprofits. I've included here just a few logos of some of the organizations that serve Grafton County. Here in New Hampshire, we rely heavily on nonprofits. Nonprofits provide safe places for children to grow and learn. They support the physical and mental health of people of all ages. They provide food, housing, shelter. They offer relief in times of crisis. They protect our lakes and environment. They bring art to our lives. They enrich our lives in so many ways. In New Hampshire, there are more than 9,000 registered nonprofits, including both grassroots organizations that are all volunteer run, as well as large institutions. If you think about like the hospitals and educational institutions. In Grafton County, there are about 700 registered nonprofits. So those are a lot of organizations who have varying missions, diverse in their size, but are all sharing a commitment to advancing the common good. While it's easy to see how important nonprofits are to the people they serve, they have a broader impact and positive contribution to our economy as a whole. In New Hampshire, more than 14% of workers are employed by nonprofits. That's 84,000 jobs and $5.8 billion in annual wages that the sector generates. They also support the workforce. You think about many organizations that are providing education and training for workforce development, or they provide services that support the workforce, such as affordable housing in your communities and childcare, so people can be engaged in the workforce. Many nonprofits spur economic activity. If you think about performing arts or cultural organizations, when people are in town to attend an event, they also patronize local establishments, local shops and restaurants. And some of the data shows that patrons spend an average of $35 per person per event in the communities when they attend an event. So that's a huge economic impact. And then you also think about many nonprofit organizations are anchor institutions in their community, and they draw people to live in your communities because they provide education, healthcare, recreation activities, the things that people look at when they want to choose a community to live in or where businesses want to locate. Nonprofits foster community engagement. So more than 347,000 people, that's about 30% of our population, volunteer at a nonprofit organization annually. That's 32 million hours of service in New Hampshire. And many of you here on the phone are volunteers. And you understand the value that volunteering brings, not just to the organization, but to you as an individual. When people work together, whether that's painting a community center, mentoring youth, helping their neighbors recover from disasters, they are reminded of their shared humanity. Volunteerism doesn't just transform communities, it transforms individuals. It helps people see the world through the eyes of others, challenging them to break free from their own assumptions and build a deeper understanding of our shared experiences. Nonprofits also build leadership skills. Whether you're involved as an event volunteer, a board member, you are learning about your community and experiencing ways to make an impact. So it's a real huge leadership opportunity as well. And finally, I would say that nonprofits support democracy. From our earliest history as a nation, nonprofits were seen as fundamental in supporting our democracy. I was a political science major, so I knew about this guy, Alexis de Tocqueville, who wrote, he was a Frenchman who visited in the early 1830s and noted that Americans of all conditions, all minds, constantly unite. Everywhere that at the head of a new undertaking, you see, now you see the government in France and a great lord in England, count on it that you will perceive an association in the United States. So the America had these free associations, which have become the nonprofit sector. And Tocqueville really saw clubs and associations as fundamental to the health of American democracy. Indeed, you see nonprofits everywhere encouraging civic participation, providing essential checks on government power, fostering a vibrant civil society distinct from European models. And throughout our nation's history, people have come together, just as your organization has done, through nonprofits to pursue common goals, to solve problems in their communities, and to make an impact. Really, nonprofits matter to us all. And so I hope this gives you a fuller picture of what the nonprofit sector does, the impact and scope in our communities. And I need to take a bit of a pause now and talk about really the landscape that we're operating in now, which is amongst the most challenging times for nonprofits that I have seen in my experience. Nonprofits are facing significant government cuts that threaten their ability to provide vital services to our communities. Executive orders and actions have halted some federal funding, and there have been threats to strip the exempt status from organizations that aren't aligned with the current administration's belief. Nonprofits have already been operating in an environment with increased costs to provide their services, and just like consumers, we're managing those changes. At the same time, we're seeing more demand for our services, and likely as cuts are happening on the government level, we'll continue to see more demands for our services. Donors are important to nonprofits for a variety of reasons. Many nonprofits rely on the generosity of our community to sustain our work. And, in times of economic uncertainty, it can be challenging for donors as well, as they may wait and see if they can afford to support. So it's a very challenging time from that level as well. I can assure you that nonprofits of all types and sizes across New Hampshire have not taken their eye off the ball of the missions and that they want to advance and the people that they serve. So while there's a lot of uncertainty and challenges to the business models, they remain very focused on serving their communities. They're speaking out for the most vulnerable at the State House with our federal delegation. They're working with their board on revenue strategies and looking carefully at their programs and services, thinking about how they can collaborate with others in their communities. These are all things that I know the Grafton County Senior Citizens Council is doing as well. And we're really leaning in on communications with our donors and community leaders, recognizing that we need each other now more than ever. So there's a lot of things that you can do to support nonprofits. This is true in all times. First of all, you can advocate. One of the things that the center does and that we really encourage other nonprofits to do is talk about the impact of nonprofits, how meaningful they are to your lives. And when I say advocacy, yes, I'm talking about public policy. I am talking about calling your representatives if there's an issue that is impacting your organization, testifying, but also just promoting the sector, promoting the work that you do. If you're on the board, know that it is okay for nonprofits to advocate. You are oftentimes close to the communities that you serve, and you understand the implications of legislation and how it would impact the seniors that you serve, the people with disabilities that you serve. You are able to share that information, and we encourage you to do so. Volunteering, we've already talked a little bit about volunteerism and how important that is to nonprofits and how valuable it is to organizations as well. And then give. Again, I highlighted at the beginning that New Hampshire Gives is coming up in June 10th and 11th. That is an easy way for people to give and to inspire others to give. And, there are lots of ways to give of your time as well as your treasure. That is really the key amount of my presentation today, because as I said, I wanted to leave some time to see if anyone had questions, and I can go a little deeper into any areas that may be of interest, Bill. So I will stop my screen share so we can see if anyone has any questions or comments.
Well, let me start with one. You outlined, which I think is obvious to all of us, is the challenge in today's world on the finance side. And as we watch things going on in the federal government, it's kind of scary and very unknown 24 hours at a time. And then we come to this, let's just then focus on the state. I get a sense that people do the best they can to communicate to the legislators on what's going on and the impact on decisions. From what I read from a distance, I think there's a majority of the members of the legislature that just don't listen to that, or they listen, but they don't agree with it. So therefore, they're going to move forward with a state budget that's going to really hurt a lot of nonprofits, including ours. So I'm not aware of any good news. So I'd like to hear if from a lobbying perspective, which that's the reality of politics, what does your organization do to try to help us and every other organization to try to communicate? Talking to people is great, but you got to change their mind, because as like Medicare, Medicaid, Meals on Wheels, transportation budgets, etc., our growing population of senior citizens is really going to get hurt.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll respond with a couple of different comments. One is, I think that our legislature actually does listen. I think that they have, obviously people have different political points of view and perspectives. But we have had several examples this year where we're able to really influence legislation. So one of the things that we've been watching quite closely this year is charitable gaming. And earlier on in the legislature, there were a couple of harmful bills which would have taken the proceeds from charitable gaming away from the nonprofits and deployed them in other ways. And we turned out hundreds of nonprofits who both presented testimony online and went to hearings, and we were able to repeal those bills. So I think that that's the first thing. I think advocacy does matter. It does help. And you can influence legislatures. On the budget side, as people may be aware, the House passes budget with pretty significant cuts. We are now in that phase where the Senate will be looking at new revenue information. So it is hopeful that some things will be able to be restored, but it will require continued advocacy. And I know that nonprofits are looking at that and reaching out to let people know what are the implications. There are a lot of organizations that are working on the Medicaid issue in particular. Our agency, we support advocacy. We provide a lot of information about what is happening. We have newsletters, an advocacy newsletter where we share information on our website. We have a link to the bills that we are tracking. Our organization focuses on public policies that impact the sector as a whole and our ability to operate. So the things that support nonprofits, like honoring the tax-exempt status, supporting charitable giving incentives, nonprofits' ability to advocate for themselves, and those types of issues. And then we try and provide as much information as we can about our priority legislation. Did that answer your question fully, Bill?
Yeah. In other words, you're trying with vigor.
Yes.
The issue will be,
well,
what's the outcome?
And remember, we have nonprofits are voters, right? We're 84,000 employees in the nonprofit sector. That's a huge block. So we at the center have over 700 nonprofit members. So when I go to speak, whether it's at a hearing or just one-on-one with a legislature, we have the power in the numbers as well. So that's an important thing to lean into.
Okay. Questions, anyone? I apologize if I don't see you right away, but just hold your hand up. I'll bounce around. Anyone have a comment, question? Just speak up, and I'll be able to find you. No. All right. I don't see anybody. All right. Kathleen, anything else you want to add?
No, I would just add, feel free to check out our website, nhnonprofits.org. As I mentioned, we provide updates on advocacy issues on our website and in our newsletters. And feel free to reach out if there are things that you have questions about, or we could be providing more help. We really appreciate the work that you do in the community, and I'm happy to help in any way.
Okay, great. Well, thank you today for your time. Appreciate giving us a little background on the organization. I wish you well with lobbying and other communication skills to convince people what we think should be appropriate expenditures. So thanks again for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, take care. And everyone gets applause, They're all applauding. I can hear them. Okay. 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 Can you guys hear me now? Just someone nod their head. Okay. All right. So the next order of business is to approve the minutes of the annual meeting of April 30th, 2024. Those minutes have been posted on the GCSCC website, and I hope that all who wish to do so have had an opportunity to review them. At this point, I will entertain a motion to approve these minutes, those minutes. Let me just get my, okay. All right, we'll go with Natalie, I see. Need a second. Neil, okay. So all those who approve the acceptance of the minutes from 2024 annual meeting of GCSCC, please signify by raising your hand.
Aye.
And then all those opposed, raise your hand. All right, the motion passes.
I abstained because I wasn't at the meeting.
Yeah, okay. There's a lot of people here who weren't at the meeting. All right. Okay, I think we're done. We clicked that one off, the technicality, so we'll move on. All right, so it's now my pleasure to present the 2025 GCSCC slate of officers and board members for election. The process, the process you start on this was on March 25 at the last board meeting. We voted on this slate of officers, but since then, Martha McDaniel's, excuse me, had to resign. Martha Richards, I'm sorry, I knew I wasn't saying that right. Martha Richards had to resign due to health issues. So we're going to have a recommendation from the floor after I read all these things. So nominated for, again, I'll just read everything that's there. Nominated for the first 3-year term, 2025-2028, is Nancy Carney from Littleton. Nominated for a third 3-year term, 2025-2028, Bill Garrity, Hanover, Doug Menzies, Littleton, Natalie Murphy, Bridgewater. Continuing to serve as officers, the President Bill Garrity, Hanover, Treasurer Dean Cashman, Lebanon. And the Board of Directors continuing to fill their current terms are Dean Cashman, Lebanon, Lori Fortini, Lebanon, Bill Carnheck, Bridgewater, David McGillor, Littleton, Bob Mule, Littleton, and Christine St. Laurent, Campton. So before I recommend this slate, I request if anyone has a nomination from the floor. Lori?
I thank you. I nominate Natalie Murphy as secretary of the board
Okay.
from the floor.
All right, I need a second for that.
I'd like to second it, Christine St. Laurent.
Okay, thank you, Christine. Just so it's obvious, Natalie and I have discussed this issue. She has volunteered, so we're not drafting her at the moment and having a surprise. So we'll include her name as secretary in this slate of officers and directors. So for all those to support this slate of officers and committee members, please raise their hand.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or with other recommendations? We're always looking for more committee members and more officers. So I'm always looking for recommendations. All right. Seeing none, I think we've approved. Okay. All right, at this time, I'd like to recognize 2 individuals who have served our organization in many ways over the years. Neil Castaldo, who's on the call here, of Hanover, joined the board of directors in April of 2016 and has served 3-year terms, which is the maximum time you can consecutively serve on the board. He has served on several board committees during that time, including the executive, strategic planning, and finance committees. Neil's passion for our mission is also evident in his volunteer service at our Mascoma Area Senior Center in Canaan, where he delivers home-delivered meals and also presents a story each month after the congregate meal. Second, I'd like to recognize Martha Richards of Holderness, who joined the board of directors in April 2017. During her tenure, she has served on the executive governance and strategic planning committees. Martha has also served as an officer in the role of secretary since 2018. Martha is a strong advocate for vulnerable people in our communities throughout Grafton County and has been very active on many other committees and fronts. Martha had to resign from the board due to health issues. Neil and Martha's participation will be missed during our board and committee meetings. We sincerely thank them for the time and energy they have given so selfishly to GCSCC and our community. Neil and Martha, thank you very much. Lots of applause. Standing ovation for both of them. Okay, moving on. At this time, I'd like to welcome Treasurer Dean Cashman to present the financial report.
All right, thanks, Bill. The audit will be within our annual report and posted online in June. And what you'll see in there is that we continue to rely on state and federal government revenue, which made up half, 53% to be specific, of our income last year. This funds our nutrition and transportation services, as well as the Aging and Disability Resource Center, which was formerly ServiceLink. So our funding streams also include philanthropy at 17%, town and county at 11%, donations at 5%. But our costs just continue to go up, over $300,000 last year compared to the previous year. Cost of business is just, it's on the rise. Gas for buses, supplies, wages, and back-to-back years of reporting a loss, and we're in a budgeted loss this year. So we're working on this from a strategic plan standpoint, and Kathleen's going to expand on that, but thank you all for your generous donations and work. Back to you, Bill, or Kathleen. I don't know.
Just questions for Dean?
Questions, yeah.
I can't see everybody with at the same time as the slide is up, so just speak up if you have a question. Well, I'll give you a statement just to reinforce. So you can see the 53% of revenue from state of New Hampshire and federal funds. We anticipate there may be some slippage on that. And the other challenge is flat funding from the state, who they've said in the past, that's good. The problem with that is that's actually a cut, because as Dean mentioned, everything continues to increase in cost. But if you don't increase the dollars, you're not matching it. So that's where the other resources, including individual participants and companies, et cetera, and grants from foundations are so essential. So we're going to rev that up as best we can, and we need your help in identifying resources. So you'll hear about this more and more over the next few months. So any other questions, comments? Okay. Thanks, Dean. Thanks for serving as the chair of the committee. All right, and take that down, the financial position. Okay, so at this time, I'd like to welcome our Executive Director, Kathleen Vancen-Sellis, to present the Executive Director's report. Kathleen, all yours.
Thanks, Bill. I'm proud to report that last year, GCSCC provided more meals, bus rides, and activities than the year before. And that was during a time when we were severely understaffed. Fully staffed, we have approximately 100 employees. At the beginning of our last fiscal year, we had 17 vacant positions. And that remained pretty steady throughout the year, ending with 16 vacancies. Since the end of our last fiscal year, we've been seeing an increase in applications, and we've been able to hire more people than we have in the previous 2 years. We currently have 9 vacant positions agency-wide. The Chief Financial Officer, CFO position is an example of a key role that was vacant for several months that we have recently been able to fill. Our dedicated team of employees and volunteers continues to serve our communities throughout Grafton County, despite the staffing and funding challenges we face. Last year, we provided more than 204,000 meals. Nutrition is provided in 3 forms. Home-delivered meals are brought to homebound adults by volunteers who ensure the well-being and safety of the recipient as they deliver the meal. Congregate meals are served at our 8 senior centers in a community dining setting that is ideal for social interaction. And grab-and-go meals are provided to go from our senior centers. Last year, we provided nearly 20,000 rides on our buses. Transportation is much needed in our rural communities, and this service is door-to-door and on demand, helping adults remain independent in their homes as they age. We are fortunate to partner with numerous community organizations to provide in-person and virtual programming at our senior centers. We also have volunteers throughout the county who share their time and expertise to lead activities. The Aging and Disability Resource Center, formerly known as ServiceLink, helped thousands of people last year with issues related to Medicaid, Medicare, caregiver support, long-term options counseling, and more. An RSVP and AmeriCorps Seniors Project provided volunteer-led programs, phone builders classes, chore assistance, good morning phone calls. Volunteers assist at senior centers as well, delivering meals, answering phones, helping in our kitchens, and many more important roles. Agency-wide, 513 volunteers donated nearly 33,000 hours of their time in service to our community members. We thank you all. As the numbers show, the need for services is increasing. Half of the people who responded to our client satisfaction survey last year indicated that they don't always have enough money to purchase the food they need. Half also reported that the meals they receive from GCSCC are their primary source of nutrition. 94% of Meals on Wheels recipients say they feel safer knowing their delivery team is checking on them. And 77% feel less hungry because of the meals they receive from GCSCC. And these statistics are about just one of our many programs and services. As the average age of Grafton County residents increases, GCSCC will continue to be relied upon for essential services. We are committed to meeting that growing need without turning anyone away. That is a team effort. You are all part of that team, and we thank you. During the past year, we met with some of you as we completed an initiative in which we met with GCSCC supporters living in each region of our county. Our goal was to gather feedback to assist in how we promote and communicate about our organization, how we interact with those who support us financially. Those meetings have led us to a strategic planning process that we started in January of this year and will complete in December. We are operating within a very different environment than we were when we completed our last strategic plan in 2017. We must change and adapt to ensure we remain relevant to those we're here to serve, attract younger seniors to our organization, recruit and retain incredible employees and volunteers, and have the financial resources to sustain the organization despite ups and downs in government and philanthropic funding. We will be reaching out to you for your survey feedback this summer as part of this process, and I thank you in advance for your input on the future of our organization. Serving thousands of people each year without turning anyone away requires funding from many sources, including charitable donations. As we seek new ways to raise much-needed funds, new this year, GCSCC is hosting a gala evening event on June 18th at the Barn on the Pemmy in Plymouth. More information will be available soon on our website. Now more than ever, it's important for nonprofit organizations to work together to serve our communities. We also know that we can't fulfill our mission without the support and passion of those who volunteer their time, provide financial support, and partner with us. Thank you all for the role you play in GCSCC's success and for taking the time to attend this meeting. I will stop sharing and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Kathleen. We appreciate you.
Any questions, comments? Neil?
You're muted, Neil.
Since this is my last meeting, I wanted to take just a moment to thank Kathleen for her extraordinary service to our organization. She works tirelessly. She has a vision for the future, and she sure makes a lot of people feel better just by being around. So I wanted to let you know, Kathleen, that you've done an excellent job.
Thank you, Neil.
There's much applause in support of that statement. Any other comments? Lori, you have a hand up. Is that by purpose or by accident? Okay, I don't think there's any other. Okay, well, thank you, Kathleen. I certainly would reinforce Neil's comments, and we have a lot of challenges ahead of us, but I think with your leadership, support of all the employees and volunteers, we'll get through it. Okay. Any other business anyone would like to bring forward to the meeting or comments? All right. Okay. Well, I don't see any. So since there's no additional questions or comments, there's nor any additional business to be brought before the meeting, I'd like to welcome a motion to adjourn the meeting. Need a hand, somebody, please. David? And need a second? Neil, why don't you make a second in your last meeting? Very good. It's on the record. So hearing all those in favor of moving forward to closer. Okay, I think we got that covered. So hearing no objections, I declare the meeting adjourned, and thank you again for all you do for our programs. Just a reminder, and